Well, we meet again. You're welcome. Charlie Greer podcast again. This is what I do every day. Today, Hanoi rocks. Yeah, Hanoi rocks every morning. Ooh, love that band. One of my favorite bands. My humble opinion, one of the best bands ever. They're like a Finnish, Swedish. They were out of London. Everybody stole from these dudes, and of course, they stole from everybody. Yeah, they took a thing or two from Johnny Thunders. But hey, I love Johnny. That again. Um, there was back in the day, like Johnny Thunders opened for Hanoi Rocks. Can you imagine being at that show? Somebody got a tape of that, or a cassette, or VHS? I don't care. Third generation. But anyways, Hanoi Rocks. Mike Monroe, Andy McCoy, Nasty Suicide, probably the coolest rock band. Nasty Suicide, Sammy Yaffa, and Razzle. So I discovered these guys in like the early 80s. Don't remember how, being a young hipster teenager of the 80s, and again, music stores music was alive back then. There was just everything going on. And I forgot which album we got, but loved them. Again, I'm a Johnny Thunders fan, New York Dolls fan, Kiss. I mean, they look like the New York Dolls. Let's get that. So I liked them. A lot of my friends did too. We were like punk rocker kids. Again, we would listen to like Motley Crue's first two albums, Aldo Nova, just all over the place. We're listening to but also Black Flag, Sex Pistols, The Germs. We had our our palette was, and all these people were in this one thing. No, so yeah, Hanoi Rocks, love them. Uh, and then they had a major push in like '83. They released Two Steps from the Moon, which is amazing album, produced by the great oh God, what's his name? Bob Ezrin, who did a lot. Alice Cooper, Kid. I mean, come on, sounds amazing. Some of those guitar tones, they're haunting, and it's just a million miles away. It's just, hey, go get it. If you haven't heard this on YouTube, you can probably listen to it. Or go buy it for those dudes' sake. And then not long ago, they released a box set. I'm getting that. Hey, of course, I own all their albums on CD. Guns N' Roses, when they popped off, they had their little Uzi Suicide, whatever it's called. They really released all the Hanoi Rocks. So I got them all. I've had them. I've even got the Live at the Marquee, a good copy of that. That's a great live album. Underrated live album. One of my favorites. And I like, because then Motley Crue's out, this, that, and the other. A few years later, it's like Guns N' Roses and everything. I like Hanoi Rocks better than, again, I like them. But Hanoi Rocks was my kind of thing. I could never pull that look off. You know what I mean? I could never, no. I can't, I'm not a dandy. Again, dandies are cool. Don't get me wrong. I just can't be peacocking around. I'm 6'2". I have been since I was like 8th grade. I'm more of like a rock, like blue jeans and t-shirt kind of rock and roll dude. A leather jacket. Okay, I wish I tried. My sister would put makeup on me and tease my. I no, look like a football player in a tutu or something. Yeah, no. I'm too much. I'm a lard ass. There's nothing. Come on. So yeah, that album came out like '83. Two Steps from the Move. We had already had. I think we had, or I had the first Hanoi Rock, Saigon Shocks, whatever. It's early where I'm at. That had Tragedy. Life is like tragedy. Woo! I love that. I love them all. All the shit that I can. I know like every lyric of every Hanoi Rock song. It's kind of silly. So we got that, and back then I was living around where I'm at now in Illinois, and a good friend of mine, a dear friend, we were probably 13. We had to be 13, and we went to the nearest city with the mall. And of course, back then malls were popping and they had records, multiple record stores. And that's when they'd put cassettes in these plastic, and you walk through, you beep, 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 set off the alarm, had like an alarm code, like a little thing on it, a tag. And I was looking around and I was with my sister, myself, and he was with us. And next thing I know, he's like, hey, let's just go. Come on. I go, why are we leaving? I'm still looking around. Come on. So I'm following him. He goes through and it sets off the alarm. Beep, beep, beep. It's loud, And man, all of a sudden, I don't even know where these security people, they were there. And we're like, oh, we made a mistake. I forgot to pay for it. Like, well, look, if you can pay for it, we'll let you go. So we did. It was like $3.99. We bought, and it was Hanoi Rocks 2 steps from the move. He had he needed that. I mean, hell. So we bought it laughing. It was one of the best. If you're a dedicated fan, sometimes you got to cut some corners and dilly dally around. And he's not a thief. He had a hankering for some good music. Hanoi Rocks, see? And we wore that tape out. I mean, dude, and I used to have them all on cassette. Right now I have all on CD, the whole catalog, whatever they got. Bootleg, I got it all. And so, again, they're a great band. Mike Monroe, the saxophone, and Andy McCoy, man, he is one of my favorite guitarists. He is like an unsung hero. Motherfuckers you took it from Andy McCoy, who probably took it from Johnny Thunders, who took it from God knows how, I don't know. So, like Andy McCoy and Nasty Suicide. Great. They were a great live band. I mean, you see that old live footage. Now, granted, they have their own sound. They're kind of a rough rock and roll, punk rock, everything, glam. I mean, they got doing it all. Harmonica, sag. I mean, it's rocking. Sammy with the bass. I mean, Raz on the drums. Sam. I mean, awesome. Because by then I was already starting to play guitar, and I realized how you could tell if you start who's a shitty band. I never got to see them. But fast forward, Guns N' Roses pops off. It's like 1988 or 89. And Mike Monroe releases Not Faking It, like his first real solo album. And at the time I was living in Champaign-Urbana. I'm down on Green Street, which back then was kind of like a little sunset strip in the campus area. Green Street had every kind of, man, there was record stores all over, cool. And I went into it was called Rose Records. And they had a box promotion where you could enter to win to meet Mike Monroe at the Metro in Chicago. So I was writing it out, and the guy that running the place, who's like a local hipster, whatever, was making fun of me. Like, oh my God, they sound nothing like the Replacements. And okay, this is the thing. I love the Replacements, but I'm also have a mind that I could listen to other music. I'm not like a one track. And good for them for whatever. But he was making fun of me. I think I was like 17 or 18. I didn't care. Like, make fun. I laughed with him. There's nothing. Yeah, I'm a dumbass. So I entered it, put it in the box. And then maybe a couple weeks later, a month, can I speak to Charles Greer? Yeah. Hey, you won that to meet Mike Monroe. What? And then he keeps making fun of me. Why would you want to go? I don't care. So the deal was meet and greet with Mike Monroe, a picture, and I was going to win some kind of like it was a thing. But I had to get my teenage ass to Chicago, to the Metro. I'd never been to Chicago. By then I didn't live with my mother. I was living with my sister and some roommate. We had our own place by then. See, we were go-getters back then. And I had an old shitty Camaro, 1982 Camaro. We're taking that to, and it was a +1. We're taking that to Chicago. So I grabbed my friend, head to the Metro. Never had really drove in like a metropolis. This is before, MapQuest, whatever the hell. We found it. We made it. It's like Wrigleyville, the Metro. It's like a legendary club. So we get there. It starts getting dark. This is before and we park and we're out front of the Metro, and up atop the metro, there was somebody like raising hell, like we weren't really paying attention. You know, they were throwing stuff down and cackling, and I'm like looking back up, and it's like, dude, that looks like Slash from Guns N' Roses. Like, is that Slash? So we get the attention to the people at the door. The doors are locked, and they're like, "Yeah, huh?" I go, "Hey, man, I won that Mike Monroe contest." Oh yeah, let me go get the paper. So he comes back, and the dude at Rose Records, just to fuck with me, he goes, "Your name Chuck Green?" No, I'm Charlie Greer. That's a Chuck Green. So I was like, "Look, man, no, you got to be Chuck Green." And spelt my name wrong. He knew, but you know what I mean, just to fuck with me. And that's a motherfucker. Like, knew what I would drive. Knew how young I was, because this guy was probably in his 30s. It had to be funny. See, put his name wrong on the list, and then I got to drive to Chicago, and then I was determined. I go, well, I stuck my arm, hey, and I kind of went in. Oh man, I'm here. I don't, as they say, and I got They gave me some. Okay, wait here. We'll come back in. As I'm waiting there, there's like a drape. I could see, like, and I looked to the drape, and they're doing a photo shoot. It's like Mike Monroe doing some kind of, oh my God, he looks so cool. I was only like 20 feet away. And I got. So they go in there, and unfortunately, I don't know what happened. They're just like, look, the photo shoot, whatever's going on, the meet him, this, that, and that's off. But we'll give you guys some free tickets. You can see the show. Huh? I was supposed to be all the merchandise and T-shirt, whatever the hell I was supposed to. Nope. Here's 2 tickets. Come back later. Bye. Like, kicked us out in the street in Chicago. So we're like, man, this sucks, but we got tickets. And we go outside, and across the street, or near it, like across near the Wrigley Field, there's this little hot dog place. Amazing. So we went over there and ate. Went and looked at the liquor store, drinking beer, because we were, I don't even know how I looked older, so we got beer. Opened the doors, and I forgot who opened. It was a cool band. I forgot who, maybe 2 bands. Then Mike Monroe comes on. Of course, man, his band is smoking. I mean, those guys are awesome. And Slash was there. They bring out Slash. I still was kind of pissed. Like, man, I was supposed to meet him. I was supposed to have a photo and all these autographs and merchandise. But I got to see him. And I met some girl that I ended up making out with. Didn't leave like at 2 a.m. to drive back to. It's like an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. We did it. Good times, man. Dedicated fan. I was like 17, 18, just drive. I don't know. I'll get there. I'll figure it out. I don't know how that make $20 between us, if that, maybe 10. We got enough gas. I hope so. We're not thinking. And then they released Guns N' Roses, bless their heart. They released all the back issue Hanoi Rocks albums. So I bought them all. Still have them. Matter of fact, I bought them one, and then I bought them again. Like, maybe Hanoi Rocks might be, besides Kiss, or I listen to them all the time. I mean, I would right now all I have is a boom box. It has a CD player, and I got a ton of CDs, but I listen to a lot of stuff on YouTube, man. I hate to admit it. I just put it on YouTube, and I'm sweeping or doing whatever I got to do. Loved Hanoi Rocks. And again, of course, Guns N' Roses, they were honest about, they just stole everything from Hanoi Rocks. That's cool that they, because obviously, if you were in the know, you knew, like, these guys just, I mean, Izzy Stradlin is a damn clone of Andy McCoy. I mean, back then, you couldn't tell. They looked like, he looked like his double, his stand-in, I love Izzy, don't get me wrong. Izzy's solo albums, go out there, man, he got some good stuff. So do all the guys, and get, like, say, and Mike Monroe went solo. He did great. Nasty Suicide and Andy McCoy, they did Suicide Twins, and then Oh God, what was it? And then he did Cheap and Nasty. That's another band, and I forgot that other guitarist. There's some good shit. Oh, and the Fallen Angels, part of them in the back in like '84, released the Fallen Angels with the guy from the shit. I forgot. Good album though. Check it out. One of those secret kind of forgotten albums, Fallen Angels, and I think it's got who from the Point Rock. It's Razzle and Sammy and Nasty. Maybe not, and then the guy from the I don't some punk rock dude. And then Michael went on to do like a couple years after that. He did Jerusalem Slim, I think it was, and then he did a Demolition something or other. I've got it all. I used to have it all. But those guys were one of the bands that kind of set me on and gave me the confidence to do what I did because I ended up being a singer in a band. Granted, different from Hanoi Rocks, but believe me, there was a little bit of I got a lot from just for me. Again, in my humble opinion, there's nothing better than like throwing on a Hanoi Rocks album. Come on, man. And they took that from Chinese Rocks. The Johnny Thunders, he had the Heartbreakers, and they released Chinese Rocks. And I'm sure that's where they got Hanoi Rocks from. They had to. Again, they took a lot from. They took it all from Johnny. We all did, man. Come on. But their style and their, again, they were Finnish or Sweden or something. So they, when they had an accent, which I thought was cool. Like, hey, I don't know anybody that sounds like that. And again, their style. I mean, shit. That's why back in the '80s, and I would wear those like Kentucky Fried Chicken ties with like a frilly shirt with leather jacket, trying to be fucking Nasty Suicide or something, and they just they put me in a headspace where I revert back and remember all kinds of, and that album, Two Steps from the Move, is haunting. I mean, it's Bob Ezrin and whatever. Oh, and I forgot to say that tragedy struck. And what happened in '84, Razzle was at a party at Vince Neil, the singer of Motley Crue's, like condo in Redondo, and they ran out of booze, so they got into Vince's Italian sports car and crashed doing a beer run, and it killed Razzle, unfortunately. And that's sad. I remember that day. I remember we were at my grandparents' house in Tennessee, like celebrating Christmas, or we were there for Christmas. It was early. It was like early. It was maybe early December. Anyway, I was in Tennessee visiting my grandparents, and it came on the news, and it happened like the day before. But I was just like, no, because quite honestly, back then they thought it was going to be the death of two bands, not just Hanoi Rock, but Vince Neil was going to jail, man. He vehicular manslaughter, and he did for like 2 weeks. Had to pay everybody up. 2 other people were injured. It was bad. Poor Razzle, man. Poor Razzle. And Hanoi Rocks, I think, did a couple more shows and then done. I guess he was essential to their chemistry, and that they had a great chemistry. Those guys. I mean, it's just like if you call Central Casting, like, yeah, I need a rock band. They must be super cool. Everybody love it. Well, you get Hanoi Rocks. They would make. Can you imagine, like, having to follow Hanoi Rocks? We got to follow them. We don't have a saxophone player. We don't get everything done. Oh, we're sick now. We can't go on. But yeah, Razzle died. Again, the band is mired in tragedy and heartache, and a lot of great bands. That just happens, man. Life is, Within my own band, we had bullshit going on, people quitting, and I'm breaking my arm on stage and whatever. Promises, unbroken promises. That's one of the things that heartbreaking. But if you have not heard, of course you have. But if you have not, you got to go buy a fucking Hanoi Rock or download it. Whatever kids are doing now. You want something new? You want like a perspective on life? You want to do something like stand out? You want to change a bit, man? Buy Hanoi Rock. Any of them, man. Just get it. Solo album, who cares? Just any of them. And that Not Faking It, Michael Monroe, that's a great album. great album. Death, Jail, and Rock and Roll. Damn right. Those are words to live by, man. You got to change your way. Death, jail, rock and roll. Yeah. Some people are like that, man. If I ain't doing rock and roll, it's either death or jail. Because they're the outlaw rock and roll. I kind of was like that back then. I was too scared of jail. And death. I mean, I know it's really rock and roll to want to die. I didn't want to die. What do you mean? No. But yeah, death, jail, and rock and roll. I think Axl Rose is in that video. I'm pretty sure he is. Again, they're Uber fans. They're fanboys of these dudes. Hanoi Rocks never sold any albums, and Guns N' Roses, even Motley Crue was influenced by Hanoi Rocks. Everybody was. I mean, Hanoi Rocks were doing that. Everybody has dark blue, black hair, and then the bleach blonde singer. That's what Motley Crue did, man. They just took a page out of Hanoi Rocks' book, or a couple pages. Done stole the book, probably. We'll just take that, and you won't be needing it. And then for them to meet and have a party, and tragically, one of them dies during a fucking beer run. I mean, come on. That's tragic. That's sad. It sucks. What could have been? They were on a trajectory. They were about to. I think the story is they were on that tour for Two Steps from the Move. I think they were on Epic Record. They had money behind them. They're on the tour. The singer broke his ankle, so they had like a couple weeks off. So the band flew to LA to party. Vince Neil throws them a party, 3-day long. Say, we're out of booze. Let's go. Should have sent somebody, man, or something. Walked. I mean, granted, you're walking with a lot of booze, so might have to take a few. We all have to go to carry the. But yeah, you're not thinking, again, those guys were in their 20s, like early 20s. You think you're invincible. I'm sure by then Vince was probably getting money in, getting those quarterly checks. Every 3 months, I get or whatever it is. Yeah, it's sad. Again, a lot of these bands will have problems, have shit going on. And to this day, Mike Monroe is out there, man. He's probably on tour right now, looking good and just all woo. I think Sammy's in the band. I know that what's his name? He replaced when the New York Dolls in the early 2000s reformed. Steve Conte, who's a damn good guitarist. He's in Mike Monroe's band. And he has got a solo album that's amazing. He's got a song called Gypsy Cab. I mean, I relate right to that. Going down in a gypsy. He's good. I'd like me some Steve Conte. Hell, you never know. One of these days I might need a guitarist. I'll just nab Steve Conte. I can't afford it. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, these are still going on. And all the Nasty Suicide just released, his real name is like Jan Steffers or something. And he's got like his whole family, these Finland people, sweet, whatever, have a band. Like this Steffers band, or Stenfer. I don't know his last name, but they have a band. He's an album right now, probably. They're on tour, probably. And Andy McCoy is doing his thing. He's good. He can sing. I saw him solo, like footage on YouTube, like playing a festival. And he was singing that Hanoi Rock shit and playing. I was blown away. And this wasn't too long ago. He's still this guy. He's like the Finnish Keith Richards or so. He's I love Andy McCoy. I've heard some shit, rumor about him. Like you don't want to. He's that dude. Again, he's a outlaw rock and roll. Of course, there's rumors. Of course, you don't want to piss him off. Yeah, don't go asking questions about the death of Rattle. Hey, he's heard that, man. Come on. He might lose his I would too. His best friend, his brother, But my style. I mean, my first real guitar. I had like a Harmony Flying V, which actually was a real guitar, but it was a lefty, and I had to flip it over, and I wanted something. So I was in Champaign, Urbana, on Green Street, at the end, past kind of campus town, but it was on Green. Right before you go in, there was a music store there, sold gear. I went in there. I think I had like $400. Back then, that was a lot of money. In '88, maybe. Yeah, '88. So I wanted to do certain thing, and the guy there was hip. Uh, I was looking at a Marshall, but he goes, "Look, man, I got this hollow body. It'll make you stick out. It's got humbucker. I mean, you don't want to be like everybody else. You don't want a whammy bar and all this. Do a hollow body." And I was like, "Yeah, man, I love Andy McCoy, and I love, oh yeah, see, you can make this thing rock, and you'll be more impressive." So it was a Penco, which was a J.C. Penney company. Pardon me, it was 70s or like early 70s made, but it was made in Kalamazoo, Michigan for J.C. Penney. So it's damn near a Gibson. I wish I had that. I sold it for like $100 when I started getting guitars. I should have kept that one, but it got away. And so he's like, "Yeah, the hollow body." And then I forget Marshall, man. I got this PV mini stack that'll blow away. And I did. So $400. Goodbye, $400. Hello, hollow body and a PV mini stack. Yeah. And it had 2 cabs with a little head. I love that thing. Blew it up. First, I blew up the speakers, then I used the head, and then I blew up the head. Then I had another one. Matter of fact, I still think I've had 2 of those PV stack, little mini stack. I got it in storage, I think, in St. Louis. Let's hope it's still. But yeah, I stole. I was like, man, he's right. Nobody's playing hollow bodies, and it did make me stick out. I'd hang it low, just like rocking, playing punk rock and rock on this Chuck Berry style, just cranking that on the dirty channels. It had reverb and chorus. Like, no, none of that. Just crank that thing, and it was loud. PVs get a bad rap. Good tone. So I myself had then ripped off Andy McCoy and everything. I learned to write song. You're listening to their song, the harmonies, and is this coming from air? I was like, hey, it's not just verse, chorus, verse. Because man, I was coming up in the late '80s, early '90s. I hated grunge, hated all that shit. I was into rock and roll. I was Nirvana. I mean, yeah, they got a kid, but they're a fucking amateur hour compared to fucking Hanoi Rocks. You ever seen Nirvana live? They sucked. And always belly aching and making fun of Journey. Hey, man, shut your mouth. I didn't like any of that shit. Pearl Jam, worst, in my humble opinion, worst. I don't like them. I just don't. Again, they might be great. It might be me. It is me. I'm just a dumbass. Let's just we'll move on. But yeah, I was more into like blues, rock, loud, Motorhead kind of shit. And I'll do an episode of Motorhead. But I hated, by the night when Nirvana kicked off and all the hair bands and all real rock and roll band. And I didn't like Warren. I hated Warren. Now I appreciate that kind of shit now, but I hated all that shit back then. Hated it all. Hated it. The only band that during the 90s that came out, they were called the Hypnotics. Dude, those guys. Soul, Glitter, and Sin. And they're just doing Hanoi Rocks and Johnny Thunder. That's a great album. And I used to manage a record store when all this was popping off. And people were like, what do you recommend? The Hypnotics. I probably sold more albums for them. But everybody wanted like Pearl Jam and Soundgarden. I appreciate Soundgarden. In my old band, these were older guys, just to join the band. Like, will we do some Soundgarden covers? Like, fine, I'll do it. And we kind of sounded like Soundgarden, tuned down, loud. Because I was doing my own thing. When I joined Lovinger, I was trying to be, it was going to be a 3-piece. It was me playing guitar and singing, a bass player and a drummer. And I jammed with a few other, and I was going to call them the affiliated. That's what we're going to call like a 3-piece rock punk, But then I wanted to play clubs and I wanted to, be a lead singer as well, see? And I went down that road. These guys were, I was like 20. They're all older than me. And they had been in other bands, and right away I joined. Band, we're playing. Okay, I'll do it. So sometimes you have to shift gears. I've done that a few times. And then Lovinger became, we got a little bit. We did a little bit here and there. Good times. But Hanoi Rocks, man, they're always going to be one of my favorite bands. I mean, I just, again, my humble opinion, I think they're one of the best bands ever. Michael Monroe's solo band will smoke any I just watched a clip of it. Again, Steve Condi's in the band. That motherfucker is awesome. Mike Monroe, harmonica and sax, and whoever else is in the band. I'm sure it's like a because they come and go, you know. But yeah, they'll wipe the floor with whoever you think is, you know, Mike Monroe solo band. I'm talking about. He will fucking. Come on, man. He can still, dude. Awesome. One of the best front man. He don't get enough credit. I mean, come on. He is. They are. I mean, Hanoi Rock. They all are. I'd love to have like enough money to like offer them like this stupid money, like get back together one night, one tour. Who's gonna play drums? I don't know. Razzle's brother, her son. I don't know. Who knows? Somebody. Who did he learn from? You know, I don't. You know, we'll figure it out. I can. One can only dream. But yeah, I love Hanoi Rocks. Go check them out. I'm sure we had to get Hanoi Rocks. Go. Run, don't walk. Just go get your Google and YouTube. Hanoi Rocks. Listen to Two Steps from the Move and that whole album. Just let it play. And you're welcome. You'll be thanking me. All right, man. I do this every day. I appreciate everybody watching, which is nobody. Nobody's watching this shit. I get it. I like doing it. Therapy. Again, I say that a lot. I love y'all. Be blessed. See you tomorrow and cheers.